So Breath of the Wild has been in development for, what, 4 years now? Roundabout?
I think so.
Pretty much since the Wii U came out, it's been in development. And it was for the longest time marketed as like, it's going to be Ultimate Zelda Adventure. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be, the Wii U Zelda game. Of course, that changed. I want to say maybe a year ago or around the summer, we started hearing that I think Nintendo started making announcements that Breath of the Wild would also be coming to the, at the time, Nintendo NX. And so everyone was like, okay, so it's going to be like, the Wii version of Twilight Princess and the GameCube version of Twilight Princess. Thankfully, I didn't have to wait for a month after the Switch came out for the Wii U version of Breath of the Wild like they did with Twilight Princess. So that's good. What's not good, though, about it? They were, of course, with any Wii U game, just like with a DS or 3DS game, there are touch screen or secondary screen functions to a game. Because you have that gamepad with a big fat screen on it. And they were planning on touchscreen controls, as far as like bringing up the map, setting those markers very easily just with like, using your finger or the stylus. And I'm sure they could have done more. They probably could have done like inventory management on the screen like you have with the HD versions of Wind Waker and Twilight Princess. But they, of course, took those features out of the Wii U version, and now all it says when you play is touch the screen to play the game on the gamepad. Like that's all you get when you're playing. So they did this, and then this is what the team at Nintendo said the reason why they decided to take these features out. In doing our testing without the touch features, we noticed looking back and forth between the gamepad and the screen actually took a little something away from this type of Zelda game. Without the touch features, it actually turned out to be a really strong gameplay experience. After more experimentation and testing out, we realized that this is the best way to experience the game. That's how we ended up with the current gameplay style in the production version. So, let me get this straight. The entire time, you've been convincing me, Nintendo, that two screens are better than one, starting with the DS, then 3DS, then Wii U. Now all of a sudden it's a distraction, or now all of a sudden it breaks up the gameplay? I don't get it. I'll tell you the real reason, because I don't buy that reason for a second. They didn't want the Wii U version of this game to have any advantage over the Switch version. Now, the Switch version runs better on the Switch. It has fewer frame rate drops overall, even while docked, because I think it runs better in handheld mode than it does in docked, which I'm still trying to wrap my mind around for the Switch. But it runs better overall. Apparently, the sound of the like the nature sounds, they say, sound crisper. They sound great on the Wii U, but okay, sure, I'll take that. They sound better on the Switch too. The game's portable, of course, due to the nature of the Switch. So yeah, the definitive version of the game is a Switch. So why not throw Wii U gamers or people playing it on the Wii U an extra bone here or there? Like, what could have been... Because honestly, like, just going into that map screen and setting a marker, I do wonder, like, why am I doing it this way when this is the Wii U and other games let you do, setting markers and looking at your map. Like, even just having the map, like, what is wrong with doing that? And the only thing I could think of is they didn't want to have a single feature on the Wii U that they couldn't do on the Switch. That's my take. And yes, I'm a little bit perturbed at it. Because you couldn't give us one thing. I suspect you have a different opinion here.
I don't think it's that bad of a thing. I don't, and that could just be like, I'm pretty sure most of the Zelda games that I've played in my life have been on a DS, just because, as far as like console goes, that I've actually like played all the way through has been Wind Waker and Twilight Princess, because growing up as a kid, I did have a 64, but we didn't have a whole lot of games for it. And I think maybe my brother preferred to have like multiplayer party games from whenever our friends came over, so we didn't have a whole lot of single player stuff on there.
Right.
So I never got to play like Majora's Mask or Ocarina of Time. So I have been using like a touch screen to work my inventory for a long time. But I also don't see it being a bad thing. Being you just like press start and it's like a menu up there and you don't interact with it. Like to me that doesn't like take anything away from like the actual gameplay. And it's a little bit, I don't know, easier for me to just like switch things out like that. To this game, I honestly haven't liked the Wii U like at all. Just because like it's basically what Nintendo did. It's what they're doing to the DS.
Mm-hmm.
It's just tiny little upgrades. It was just an upgrade for the Wii, and it's like here's a gamepad. Does it add anything to your game? No. Is it just a giant iPad that you connect to a Wii? Yes. Is it really awkward to hold when you're playing some games? Yes.
I actually find it very comfortable.
It's too big.
You think it's too big?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Like I'm playing Smash. I've grown like used to it. Like I can play games with that now. But it's just a giant awkward controller that I'm not a huge fan of. So whenever I have to use it less,
you think it's better?
I'm okay with that. Also, I said this before earlier. I don't like the gyroscope feature. I think it's an interesting feature for a controller to have. I don't like it. It doesn't make aiming easier. It makes it more realistic. And, for some people that can be
You
fun.
can aim faster with it.
Yeah, but a lot of the time when I tried to, I would fail because it's just, like, sometimes you've got it on, sometimes you don't, and then, like, you mess it up. And for, like, the puzzles on Breath of the Wild, I don't like that either because... Again, don't like the gyroscope feature, and it's annoying trying to like get things because it doesn't like move as well as I think like a joystick works. And it's just, I don't know, it's weird for me. I don't like aiming through it or using it to aim. So like the bow, when we streamed it, we were using.
First, we started with the gamepad, then we switched over to the Wii U Pro controller.
Yeah, I did not like using the bow because I would try and use the joystick, but because the gyroscope was also active, it was like shaking. And I was like, stop it. I just want to shoot. And I don't know if you can turn that off in the options. I didn't really... Because I actually enjoyed it. I didn't look for a way to do it, but I want to say that's not an option to turn off. One thing, though, like... Okay, so I'll give you two examples of, like... So you haven't played through Ocarina of Time, right? No.
So there... a lot of people... Like, if you're going to complain about anything about the game, a lot of people complain about the water temple. And I actually love the water temple. I've actually watched some other YouTubers' videos that also like the water temple, and they were able to put into words like why it's good. I'm like, yeah, that works. What people don't like is the fact that you have to switch between normal boots and iron boots several times, and that of course involves pausing it. If you typically are on your item screen, well, you have to get off your item screen, go over to the next screen, go to your equipment screen, and select the right boots, and then go back out. So you're gonna be doing that several times. Now, when they remade that for the 3DS, of course, number one, 3DS they gave you a dedicated Ocarina button, so you didn't have to have it equipped. And just based on how many times you have to use the Ocarina in that game, that was a brilliant design choice. So it has its own dedicated like touchscreen button in the corner, and then on top of that, you can equip not 3 items, but 4. And the Ocarina you pretty much always have equipped in Ocarina of Time. So that was a boon. That's like being able to have 4 items at your disposal. Plus you had a map screen to look at. So, and then they took the iron boots and they made it into like a button. They could have done that for the original Ocarina of Time. They just didn't think to do it, I guess. But just that little thing alone, that's, to me, Ocarina of Time 3D is the definitive version of that game. It's done so well as far as how they basically made me a believer as far as like, yes, this is what a second screen should be used for. Like it should be used for item management and having a map available all the time, and not just a little mini map, but like a bigger map. So just looking at that, like, I think the game's great the way it is, but it is just really weird. I don't even get a map on that screen when I'm looking down at it. It just says tap to do this. You could have, and the thing is like, for a gamer like you, they could have had a mode where it's like, okay, this is kind of like the Switch gameplay, and you can just use that. Or if you wanted to turn on the touchscreen controls, like, have that as an option. And they had it up and running and working, so they just trashed it. More options are always a good thing, even if you don't like subtitles. I can't stand subtitles in games. Some people love them. I will always turn them off if I have the option. It's one of the things I don't like about all the like early Kingdom Hearts games. I think just now they've started making them so that you can turn them off. But just subtitles are always... I don't want to go down that rabbit trail, but my point is, options are a good thing. And this is an option I feel like they could have very easily just added and be done with.